Hello. Welcome back. We've been gone a bit. I am now the Wi-Fi hotspot of the group. I've have thrown 2 needles into my arm at this point now, so I'm ready to go out here saving lives, if you will.
My cell phone service just increased.
I know. I know. If you're wondering why the quality of the podcast is so much better, it's because I have the vaccine in my arm, and so it's kind of why we haven't been around. I kind of screwed that up. I've been not feeling the greatest after that. It's real. The side effects now, they're legit. So
how dare you get sick?
Yeah, sorry about that. Here we are. What day is it today? It's Monday. Monday. Currently 7:13 on Monday. So a lot of stuff we say might be out of date because the Blue Jays just keep crushing. And there's guys on this team. I currently have it on, so I'll update our stats as we go, maybe. But yeah, it's pretty. I don't know where you want to start with it, but
which series are we? Are we just going to talk about the Red Sox?
We're going to pretend the White Sox one didn't happen.
That one was pretty bad
because the bullpen it's not good. It needs work.
The Blue Jays do not like their Sox white.
No,
that was evident.
No, very not. Like the team's great. The team hit great in Chicago too. Realistically, it's just they got shut down by, was it Rodon night one? Like they couldn't really put any runs together, but like that's what he does. He's been fantastic this season. It happens. And then the bullpen is non-existent right now, and they blew a couple leads. It happens. Their bullpen did it too. We took one, and their bullpen looked like shit. So it happens. So that series happened. They're currently sitting at number 1 in most power rankings. So I'm not too worried about losing a series to the Chicago White Sox, in which they probably could have won 2, maybe 3, if you had a better bullpen situation. But hey, it is what it is. A lot of the conversation has been based around like, oh, Charlie Montoyo needs to get fired. I put it this way. You have 5 guys running at you, and they're going to try and kill you with swords. They got swords. You don't have a sword. You have a gun. So you're bringing a gun to a knife fight. You're bringing a gun. You're literally bringing a gun to a knife fight, right? That gun is supposed to hold 5 bullets, and you're good, and you should be able to shoot all 5. But you're currently sitting there with 2 bullets. Now you need to find a way to kill all 5 of those dudes with 2 bullets. That's what Charlie Montoyo is doing right now. He's got 5 innings to cover, and he's got 1 reliever that can do it.
Charlie Montoyo is not dealing with guns. He's dealing with
relievers.
Pitchers, yes, who struggle at times and are complete wild cards. I think
some days you have 5 blanks in that gun. Absolutely. Some days you got 5 bullets. Who knows? But he's trying his best.
It's truly entertaining to see the game to game, like who knows what we are getting from who, because it's not even like it's consistently one player who plays bad, right?
Tyler Chatwood had a fantastic outing in Chicago and then came back to Boston and forgot how to pitch. You just never know what you're going to get.
Tim Mesa has been here and then there.
Who knows?
Carl Edwards Jr. since being signed
in the same game. Who knows with Carl Edwards Jr. He was great in the first inning of work, or first third of an inning of work. And then he sucked in the next inning, gave up a bomb. And I'm like, what do you do if you're Charlie Montoyo? Like that Boston game in particular, he did everything he had to do to win that game. Like you left, who was it? Matz in that game? No. Stripling, thank you. Yeah. Stripling in that game for as long as you possibly could. He got into the 6th, and like he was starting to get hit around. And you're like, well, it's time to go. So he pulls Ross Stripling, and you have a 4-run lead, 3-run lead at the time. You're hoping that Tyler Chatwood can get out without giving up like 3 runs. But unfortunately, the bad Tyler Chatwoof showed up instead of Tyler Chatgood. And he was not good, and he just couldn't control anything. And you knew it in the first batter. But unfortunately, you have to pitch 3.
It was almost like, to let him. Like watching Tyler Chatwood change his difficulty to a level way out of his league and just try to go with it and be like, no, come on, we're gonna power through it. Like it was bad.
It was rough. He didn't look good, but unfortunately for Montoyo, you don't know that going in, and like he's the option because you're still up 4. Like you should be fine.
The difference for me though was bringing in Tyler Chatwood in a point where he wasn't already like in a bind, right? Like Ross
Right.
Stripling getting hit around puts you in a situation, especially somebody who's so inconsistent. Like, wouldn't you just rather, you know what, Ross got you 5 solid innings.
Get
Now
you a
we're just
blank
gonna
inning, try it
yeah,
out. Maybe.
and then if Tyler Chatwood struggles, then to one pitcher struggling instead of
Right.
back to back. And like you said, like that momentum, it just started to kick in. And then
if you want to nitpick in hindsight, yeah, you could say
it was early
maybe
enough to start a rally and to start getting away at that lead. And sure enough, by the end of the game, the Red Sox put themselves in a position to do it right.
In hindsight, if you're Charlie Montoya, you could say, well, you could have just given it to Chatwood at the beginning of the inning. But honestly, Stripling was good, and like he wasn't really getting hit. So I was okay with him going
You're
6.
in a position too where people are getting injured, people are riding hot streaks.
You're trying to minimize the use of that bullpen.
I understand a little bit of it, but for me, like Ross Stripling, if I see 5 and that's it, I'm happy. I'm not gonna be.
I wouldn't have hated 6. Like I think he had a chance at 6. It just wasn't there for him that day, and that's fine. And in the moment, you're not thinking that. Like at the moment, in that time to begin the 6th, he looked like he was ready to go 6. He could have gone 7. I think he was only at like 80 pitches. Like he could have kept going. But unfortunately, they started to figure him out, and you go, okay, we go to the bullpen, which makes sense for any normal baseball team. You're thinking, hey, we'll go to the bullpen. We'll use this guy that's really hit and miss because we have a 4-run lead. And he was missed that day. So what are you going to do?
This for me too is one of the most interesting things with baseball. Like not being able to trade future, like for draft picks makes it so tough because right now, like the Jays are not really healthy enough to be trading anybody, right? Like no. Jano and Kirk are now not.
Your catcher depth can't be traded.
You have McGuire, yeah, and then so what is it? So you're absolutely trading some prospects, but you don't want to overtrade because you're trying to rush and meet the demands of the fans when you're also.
You shouldn't be winning this year. Like this is not the year.
They're not in a position to win. They're in a position to compete for sure. And if you continue to compete, I think you're going to find a lot of regular Jays fans happy, right? Like a lot of the fans that are.
You should be pumped about what this team is doing, regardless of like this trash bullpen. Like it's incredible.
What you want to see going into next year, though, is like there's bigger questions that come out of it now. Like, is Marcus Semien going to just be one and done and get himself a bigger deal, or are we in a position to say, you know what, you can be part of the championship run, and if you want to play here and we want you here, then we're willing to give you that money, right? The Jays are showing they're willing to spend.
If it's Marcus Semien at like 3-4 years for 20 per, I'm here.
I'd be okay with that, man. Like his defense isn't as big of a deal. There, like when you're at second base, and even
he's fine too. Like he's not really a defensive issue.
And this year, like balls are being hit just way harder, right? I think we talked about it earlier on, where like I think stadiums, like at some point it's going to be too small for these players, right? They hit harder, they run faster. They're too big for the actual.
He's popping off an absolute career year too. So like. And you're probably not going to get this in the future from him, but like this is huge. And
if you can still get some sort of consistency, though, some sort of leader, and have Springer come back, and then have also the names of Vlad and Bichette and Teoscar still continue to assist.
Do what they're doing,
yeah. And then it just makes pitching that much
doesn't hurt. But that's the thing. Like that's the one thing you're looking at. Like, hey, maybe Semien walks, but you can replace a Marcus Semien. Like not what he's currently producing, but you can replace that type of player. There's always going to be that guy in free agency that you can go out and sign for 1 year as a prove it deal. So I'm not too hurt by that, especially with Jordan Groshans and Austin Martin coming up. Like you have spots to fill. So you can't be looking at this season like, yeah, we got to go all in because we have Marcus Semien playing out of his mind and Robbie Ray, who's our best pitcher right now. Like it happens, but like you can replace those guys in off season and you have guys in your system to do it. And I think they're a better option down the road. So you're not selling the farm to be like, hey, 1 year, let's make it to the finals. Like you want this to be a thing for 8 straight years.
Right. And I think though, if the Jays go to look, I don't believe, Max Scherzer would be a great option. I don't believe it's going to happen because they're not in a one and done year. If you tell me that they're going to go for a pitcher who has not only hit that kind of talent, but also some contract, then I think, unfortunately, a name like Martin or Groshans is going to have to be.
I think Groshans could be in trade talks,
and that's okay because that's kind of where you have depth, right? That middle of the diamond is kind of where you're deep enough to go. Okay, like it would have been nice to see them for sure. We would have loved watching them play, but it might be okay to see them traded and not win anything, right? Like Noah Syndergaard, we talk about how nice it is to have him and Travis d'Arnaud, but at the same time, like Noah Syndergaard hasn't won.
No, I'm
right?
not worried.
He hasn't led the
like
Mets
losing Noah
so.
Syndergaard really didn't hurt in the long run,
No.
but it's still a terrible trade.
It's a terrible trade, but did really any side completely capitalize
No,
from
I
it?
wouldn't.
No. So you can kind of say, okay, like
I wouldn't say
it,
either side walked away from that trade. Like,
no, but
let's
you
go
can now
now.
make
But
a better trade, right? Like I'm not.
yeah,
I
I
can't
think
think of
you're
top of my
right.
head some names that would be
I,
good enough for pitching
there's
to come in.
so depth wise, like I don't hate giving up a guy like Aurelvis Martinez, who's still one of their top prospects, but he's so young and he's not close and he's blocked out by a lot of guys right now. So it's tough. And then obviously you have the catching depth of Riley Adams and Gabe Moreno. I wouldn't want to see Moreno go. I think that kid's going to be a stud. But Riley Adams, to me, he's a project, and he's shown it so far in the bigs. I haven't been a huge fan of Riley Adams' game personally, defensively, but apparently everyone else seems to be really high on him. I can't stand the way he frames balls. He needs to do a lot of work there. But yeah, it happens.
There's only one place you kind of look at that would do that work, and that's in the show, right? Like, and that's the thing is that the Jays.
You can do that anywhere.
The Jays don't also want to find themselves in a position where they have too many players trying to figure out the major league game as well as compete.
No, that's just like framing pitches is something you can do anywhere, and like you learn that all the way up, and it's just something with him right now. It's like I think he needs to work on it. I think he has the tools to be a great catcher.
I think that
he seems like a great guy.
I think that there's a huge jump though from the major league pitchers to the AAA pitchers. Yeah, like when the type of stuff that you're seeing comes at you and it kind of hits.
But it's not even him not being able to deal with the stuff. It's just the way he catches balls is just like
and that's what I mean.
He Gary Sanchez is everything.
Yeah, it comes at him differently, right? Like that's what I'm saying though. Things come faster. Things come with a little more hook to them, right? So I think that he's just kind of adjusting to that for sure. Yeah,
but that's a guy. Bottom line is that he's a guy you could trade. Yeah, and absolutely. I think teams would definitely be interested in him.
Nobody has any loyalty to him yet. Not loyalty, but any anything invested in
You're so deep at catcher, you really don't need. And like even if you want to throw in Jansen or
when healthy
or McGuire,
catcher. But also catcher seems to be
Kirk. I know a lot of people love Alejandro Kirk, but he's also a lot of value that you could trade if you really wanted to. Like catcher, you have 17 catchers that do the same thing realistically.
Yeah, and the catching position seems to be in the offseason a good position to have like average guys, like the same kind of thing that you're dealing with, but almost more veteran guys behind the plate, right? So if you lose a guy like Jano, if you have to,
it doesn't hurt you that much.
Yeah, exactly. You can go into next season saying, okay, we need another veteran, like another guy who can call the game like Jano can behind the plate, but also now bring in a bat to do it, right?
Regardless of which catcher you're trading away, you're talking about trading away your 8 and maybe 9 hitter. Like it would be your 9, but I think Cavan slots in at 9.
And kind of at this point, like anything is an upgrade because none of them have been able to find consistency in health and consistency
at the plate, realistically. So like there's options there obviously, and I think there's enough youth in that group that they could entice some teams. Obviously Jordan Groshans is a big piece that they could look towards trading, and I think if you get into a Max Scherzer type of deal, Jordan Groshans is probably the big piece that starts the deal. It's obviously not the only thing.
You want some term. Like I want some.
It depends where we're sitting. Like Jordan Groshans is going to have a really tough time fitting in the future of this team right now, just because like where do you play him? I really like the kid, and I think he's going to be successful. But like he's a shortstop.
But if Marcus Semien isn't there, then there's kind of a need.
No,
at second base.
You bring Cav back to second, and then you can play him at third. But like now, where do you put Austin Martin? And Austin Martin's a better prospect.
Absolutely, but the Jays have shown that it's compete for your job, right? Nate Pearson was the better prospect until Alex Manoah kind of.
Well, I mean, Austin Martin's also the better player right now. Like he's 100%. Playing out of Jordan Groshans, so it's just like I just think I like Groshans. I think he's going to be a really good major leaguer, but there's just no spot for him right now. So I think he would be the centerpiece of a trade along with some other B tier prospects, and I think you could get lots of names with that, including Max Scherzer. And I don't know if you'd have to give up a ton for Max Scherzer, like. As stupid as that sounds, he's also hurt right now.
Yeah, he's coming. I think he's coming back soon. But
yeah, it's not major, but like it'd be a nice piece. It'd be a nice piece. I think.
I just don't think it's.
You do that move if you're battaling for the division when you come trade deadline,
which you're kind of not, right?
You're not in that spot. You're 7.5 games out. Mm-hmm. It's not. You're definitely gonna. I think they're gonna be in that wild card fight for the rest of the year because their schedule gets real easy from here on out, and they have Baltimore pretty much every day.
Yeah, I think that we've kind of commented on teams who have made those big 1-year trades as like a kind of question mark. So why are you doing that? That puts a lot of faith in somebody who's going to pitch once every 5 days.
Yeah.
Right. For a huge prospect that could have been.
I mean, he is that number one starter that's going to pitch game one, and then like it locks that you don't need your bullpen at that point because you have Max and you have Ryu and you have Razor.
We've also walked in last season, man. I remember walking in last season saying, okay, Ryu has game one, and Ryu.
Well, this is the thing is now pushes back Ryu, and like it. Who knows? I wouldn't even honestly, if I'm putting the rotation together right now, Robbie Ray is my number one guy. He's been so good and just so dominant. Like he's my number one guy. I would go Scherzer, Ray, Ryu personally, but so there's options out there, obviously. In the series at hand, because we didn't really talk about it yet. The Blue Jays, they won 18-4 yesterday. They had 8 home runs.
They just kept mashing the ball.
8. That's the most ever by a visiting team at Fenway Park.
I think that I've noticed with this team, if you are throwing inside on them, you are challenging them to a spot that they are better than anybody that I've seen.
You absolutely have to make your pitches if you're facing the Toronto Blue Jays.
But these guys see, like Gurriel sees inside so well. When something comes inside, he turns all the time. And as I say that, Teoscar just kind of went on one that was a little missed inside. Caught, but yeah, a little bit, but not what was it? Like when it comes inside the plates of them, like they go for it and they're confident enough to hit those pitches, man. I think even like Bo's was high and inside, Gurriel's was inside. Like they just
Bo corkscrewed on his, like he literally just like wound up and unloaded everything he had into that. It's like you can't make mistakes against this lineup, and they've shown that 1 through 8 right now is like you have to make your pitches for 8 straight batters, and it's killing pitchers right now.
It does. I think that comes from them just kind of also stringing some hits along, stringing singles along too, right? Like they do get themselves in positions where they're getting 3-run shots because they're getting on base. They're drawing walks, just long at bats. Like we said, they're a really good hitting team.
Just for fun, that graphic that they just showed on the thing, they're second in average, first in home runs, first in slugging, and second in OPS. So like the team is hitting the ball. One fun part of the group that really isn't getting talked about too much. Comeback Cavs season, baby. It's hot. The kid is flying right now.
Yeah.
He currently since his comeback, he's 6 for 12 in the 3 games. 2 doubles, 2 home runs. He's got a 1.167 slugging percentage, which was a big issue for him earlier as he could not get the ball in the air. So that is huge from Cav. His weighted runs created plus, it's like an analytical stat. It's basically he's reached 100 now at this point. So it's over the course of the year. It kind of averages out, but he's reached 100, which is league average. Despite the fact that he basically didn't show up to begin the season, he just kind of stood there and let himself get out for a month. So the fact that he's brought himself back up to league average, despite just not existing for a month, is incredible. I think he's about to get real hot. He's going to go on a run, and he'll be back to the Cav that we've seen in the last little bit. That'll be fantastic because now you have your 5-6 guys up top that are crushing balls. You potentially have George Springer coming back, maybe, who knows. And then to top it off, you have Lourdes and Cavan behind that are just doing wonders in their spots right now. And if they're hitting, like, you're looking good. Your bullpen doesn't matter if you're up 11 runs.
Your rotating catcher, it doesn't matter either.
No, exactly.
You're able to get 1 through 8 to kind of confidently hit. Right. Rowdy even I know he's hit some, not like useless home runs, but some stat padding home runs, right? Like if you look, right, his home runs have been very much in big
the 18th games. Run of the game. Yeah.
Awesome. Good job, Rowdy,
Or like the big double he hit when we were down by 6. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So
like he doesn't hit in clutch situation, but he's starting to figure it out a little bit. So that's
kind of what you want to see, the fight back for him, right? So they've shown a lot against Boston, and maybe Boston's kind of coming back down to reality to where they should be.
Right.
A little bit.
Yep.
Like I know I hyped them up huge at the beginning of the year because they have the ability to be good.
Their
lineup
should be good, but
they also have the ability to just kind of go through the same kind of deal with pitching and with getting into getting.
They don't have guys that can get outs right now.
No, and that's the issue, right? When you come into the Jays, they're showing you what happens, right? They can just bomb you.
Yeah, they're gonna have nights like that where teams just hit them around, and then you throw in your best pitcher in Marwin Gonzalez. Apparently,
I love Fenway Park to look at I think for a hitter though, you must be just chomping at the bit. You were like so excited
that
to be
short porch and left. I mean, the Jays hit 12 of them there already over that wall.
Yeah.
None of them were, not many of them were cheap, like maybe one or two cheap ones, but like they're over that wall still. I'm like, that's not very far. But some of them crush balls. Yeah. We wouldn't be an episode if we didn't talk about the kid. Vladimir Guerrero, 22-year-old phenom, beautiful man, great hair, fantastic ball player, good smile, good defender, great smile, good base runner apparently,
good leader,
and just all around MVP leader right now. And I don't care what anyone says. I had to argue on Twitter about this 2 nights ago because these two idiots were just like, "Oh, you're a homer." I'm not a homer. I can just read, and when you read, there isn't one thing that anybody else is better than.
Did anybody see who's leading the All-Star vote?
By a lot. By 300,000.
It's one man. It's one man only.
Like, he is a king right now. He's doing everything. I apologize for the fact that he hasn't pitched. That sucks. If Vladimir Guerrero could pitch, he would have already walked away with this award and it wouldn't be a conversation. The only reason Shohei Ohtani is in the conversation is because he can do both. And he does one at an above average rate, and he does one at a powerful rate, and that is it. The guy can't hit for average. He strikes out a lot, significantly more, doesn't walk anywhere near as much as Vlad, but he can pitch. And he's faster, apparently. He's like, the argument people keep putting him is like, oh, he has 9 stolen bases. I'm like, you're going to give him the MVP because he can steal bases?
For me, it's kind of like watching, Joey Gallo or like a Jorge Soler. Like really
he's literally...
He's got a little more speed for sure. Got a little more speed for sure.
No,
and
for
like
sure.
you said, the pitching is unique, but the pitching is not elite. It's not going.
It's above average. Like he's a good pitcher.
Because you're good does not mean that you should be MVP.
No,
right?
like
does not mean that you should be. Maybe you can be talked about for sure, but there are other people. They're almost. I think even Marcus Semien could be kind of sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Closer.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you're looking at Shohei Ohtani, and he is Joey Gallo at the plate. A lot of power, hits balls really hard, but not very often. As he hits it here and there, and like
he's athletic.
He's not playing that much. Like just because of his role, he doesn't play all that much. He's got as many at bats as Vlad because he doesn't walk, so the plate appearances aren't really that close. But like he doesn't really do as much as Vlad in the same amount of at bats. And then he doesn't pitch that much. He hasn't even reached enough innings to qualify for most of the league leaders. Like someone that was trying to argue with me, he's like, oh, he's top 10 in ERA and top 10 in home runs. I'm like, no, he's not. For starters, even if he could rank, he'd be ranked 18th in ERA, but he doesn't rank because he doesn't pitch enough. And like, it's great that he does both. It's so cool. I think Shohei Ohtani is so fantastic for this game, but he can't do both enough to make that big of an impact. Like when he's there, huge, incredible, but he doesn't do it enough.
But what kind of impact is he making as well? Because they're getting
better apparently.
Elite team. Absolutely. No, they for sure
didn't
were,
even notice.
Seattle and Texas have come back down to where they regularly are.
Where they should be.
Right. But that LA has always been that third team. LA has always been that wild card team.
This is their spot, whether Shohei Ohtani's there or not.
And I understand Mike Trout is injured, and you're going to get Mike Trout back later on in the year, hopefully. And Anthony Rendon, please find an at bat up there. I know that you're the chillest man.
I don't know how you can call Shohei Ohtani an MVP when he's not the most valuable player on his own team.
No.
Like the most valuable player on that team isn't playing right now. Like
you can argue it for sure. Like you can say that he's
close. I think he's 2. I think he's the second best guy right now. I think he's a good option.
In the league,
but it's not close.
Second best in the league right now.
Not in the league. In the league, we'll talk about it in a minute. There's another man that I think could be in the league conversation, but he plays a different position than these two men. I don't know, man. It's just I like Shohei. I think he's a fantastic player. Just he doesn't do everything consistently enough for me to call him the runaway MVP right now. He's obviously in the conversation, but like Vlad is doing everything. He's playing defense well. He's hitting the ball hard. He's taking walks. He's not striking out. He's putting the ball in the air. He's getting on base with homers, doubles, singles. It doesn't matter. Like he's doing everything. Yeah. And Shohei's not.
Nope.
It's just he
is
just happens to be pitching every seventh day.
He's bringing the excitement back. He's bringing entertainment.
No, it's value. So cool. It's great.
The entertainment value is there with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wrote all this down about Vlad. He's currently the MLB leader in home runs, RBI, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS. I'm running out of fingers, and WAR. And then he's the AL leader in average. So that means he's currently the Triple Crown leader in the AL. Tell me how a guy's going to win the Triple Crown and you think he's not going to be the MVP because some other guy pitches every seventh day. Come on. And as we mentioned, Vlad is leading all-star votes by 300,000. There's another Blue Jay on that list. Marcus Semien. He leads second baseman. That's so cool. Not a lot of competition there, I might add. But it's still wicked. Exactly. He's been incredible. He's probably the best second baseman in the league this year.
Give me 4 All-Stars on that team. Let's have a whole Blue Jay team. Let's go back to when
Bo's close. I don't know if he'll get there.
Let's go to a time where you have to wear your own jersey too, like the NBA used to. You just wear your own, like,
a bunch of Blue Jays.
Yeah, awesome. I'd love to see that.
I'd like to see it. Teoscar and Grichuk are the other two that are pretty close. It should be. It's gonna be a fun race. I hate All-Star voting. Like giving the fans a choice is just kind of lame.
Oh, it's fun. It's perfect.
Danny Jansen has 69,000 votes.
Awesome.
Like he's not.
I told you. Like,
oh my god.
Bored.
It's just hilarious. We have nothing to do, so we just vote on the All-Star game.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else is open. The America is forgotten.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk. This is the last thing I have on baseball.
All right.
Who's the best player in baseball for you right now this season?
Jacob deGrom.
Okay, cool. We're in agreement.
Yeah, always.
All around, that guy is doing things we have never seen before.
No.
Ever.
He's unbelievable.
I'm not one to be like, oh, the MVP is a pitcher. Like, no. Usually I'm thinking if a pitcher pitches every 5 days, it's really tough to be the MVP. Jacob deGrom still pitches every 5th day, and he's running away with the MVP conversation. It's not close. Don't talk to me about Tatis. Tatis is great. He hasn't played half the games. And he is not setting these records that deGrom is setting right now.
Especially in a league, too, where you're finding like these major league pitchers are cheating their way through batters and are struggling and are saying, we need help. And Jacob deGrom just goes up there and continues to. His
spin rate's exactly the same as his spin, so you can't tell me he's cheating.
Oh, my God. He's unbelievable to watch, man.
The guy is a wizard.
Yeah. Like, watching, even when they went for their run with him, how can you bet against him? It was almost shades of Madison Bumgarner just going up there, and it's like he's going to pitch every damn inning if he can.
Dude, they need him to because they can't do anything else when he's not there. He
has
already won the Cy Young, in my opinion. He doesn't even have to finish the year. It's his award. It's the Jacob deGrom award from now on because nobody else is competing with him. Like, it's not close. It's his award. The only conversation now is whether or not you think he's the MVP. And if he continues doing what he's doing, there is zero argument against him winning the MVP.
I think a lot of it, too, unfortunately, is a lot of, like, the big names have kind of gone away.
Yeah.
In
like Acuna exists. He's had good numbers, really good numbers, but
they're good, but they're
just
not, even for pitchers.
It's not blowing me away yet. Like,
and even for pitchers, like the pitchers have not been.
There's nobody else
been phenomenal, right? Like Trevor Bauer was supposed to be this
shaky
huge Dodger signing, and now he's feeling that pressure, right? Walker Buehler,
I think he's just feeling his fingertips a little bit less. I think that may be the thing. Could be a little bit as to why Trevor Bauer's not succeeding. I think that could be a thing with a lot of guys, though. Like, I don't want to single out Trevor Bauer.
Guilty, so
Sure.
But yeah, it's just.
I don't think Trevor Bauer's the main issue, but he's just that guy.
Yeah, but when you look at everybody else there, like I would almost expect you like a guy for me like Walker Buehler to make that next huge step to put himself in that conversation, like especially with Kershaw and Urias having their top 2 in wins right now, which I know wins don't mean much, but like as the Dodgers pitchers, like those are your top 2 in wins, and you have Trevor Bauer and Walker Buehler there as well. Like that's not really what you expect.
No, I mean Kershaw always wins, but like you wouldn't expect Urias to be up there. That's such a wild division too, man. The Padres are sitting 3rd, and like they would be 1st in almost every other division right now, but they're currently sitting in 3rd. It's just painful. I feel so
the Giants just keep plugging away. Although they are only a game now. Yeah. But they're all within 2 games.
It's so tight. It's so tight. It's crazy.
And then the Rockies and the Diamondbacks
they just
said see you later. Yeah.
They're already selling.
We folded.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Jacob deGrom. He's the best player in baseball. End of story. That's it. That's all it is.
Who did you think there was like Vlad? Even Vlad. Like
I love Vlad, but he's not Jacob deGrom.
Not comparing. Yeah.
Like I think Vlad's second currently for this season, but he's not Jacob deGrom, and Jacob deGrom's not a human. So,
dude, he has 0.56 ERA.
No, he's an alien. He's an alien. He drives in runs on top of the fact that he's a machine.
Did he hit 1, 2?
He has like 6 or 7 RBIs, if I'm not mistaken. Like he drives in a shit ton of runs. He drives in his only run support. Like it's insane. Every game, it's just like it's a 1-0 game. DeGrom pitches a complete game shutout, and he had a home run to win it. Like that was it. It's insane. The Mets need to do something for that man. There's no way that guy goes the rest of his career as a Met and doesn't win a goddamn World Series.
He's gonna go as a Met. I mean, they're first in the division.
He's got to win a World Series at some point. I don't even like the Mets that much, but he's got to win one.
Do you know who else has a pretty staggering ERA? Taijuan Walker. Taiwan.
Taiwan. We don't need to bring up that.
T-Dubs. He's
wound.
Yeah, he's got a ridiculous.
Yeah, he's great. We should have signed him, but whatever, it's fine.
Walker is gross.
You watch the Euros? Or can we just skip that?
Oh, I've been watching the Euros.
I have not watched a single bit of the Euros.
You know what's funny? I just love how hyped everybody gets.
Yeah,
for the Euros. Like,
sure.
I know that we especially when like Olympics are on, that we get pretty hyped.
A little bit.
I don't think that we are as to the streets as we are when the Euros.
No, and it's so frustrating. I get it when you live in the country, but like if you're a Canadian,
I love it.
And you're like, I can't. Why are you in my street?
It's
celebrating something of another country.
Because it's yours, and you're
here. This is yours.
No, you're sharing.
You live here.
It's amazing.
I get we don't have a team. But like we don't celebrate hockey like that. Like when Canada won the gold medal, we weren't out. I guess it's
when the Toronto Raptors won,
how
many people in the streets?
Even
Bradford. In Bradford that night.
Not that many though.
Yes, there was many.
Not to the extent that the Portuguese people come out for the Euros. Like they party hard, and I don't get it.
Have you ever been part of like a football culture like that? Like they
because it's called soccer.
No, it's not. They join chants
grammatically.
They have so much pride for their teams. Even if your team is like the smallest team from the smallest city, you think that your football club could make it to the finals every single game. It's crazy.
Yeah. No.
But no, I kind of like it.
I don't watch a lot.
You know what it is? It's just how like upset they get. How dramatic every
play
is. Every miss. Every miss. Like sometimes like when I see some of the balls that just like fly way over the net, I kind of laugh. I go, I could have done that. I could have been right there.
I could probably, if I had cardio, I could play soccer. It just takes hand-eye and cardio, and I don't have cardio.
Guys, I'm 6'6". I can get up for a header.
I was missing the key component of being a soccer player my entire life.
Skill. Soccer skill?
No, cardio. I just can't run. I couldn't run from here to the other side of my bedroom without getting tired. That's why I played baseball. I only had to run max. Like I'd maybe get a triple, and
then hockey, so you can glide on skates.
Yeah, exactly. Coast and then that's why I started playing D when I got old, because it's just like
when I got old,
I don't have to skate older, I guess.
As he says it, going to be 25.
Older.
Is it 25 this year?
Yeah, 25. Next week, actually this week, end of this week,
Friday, man. We will probably not be podcasting Friday then.
No.
With that being said, we will be
unlikely this weekend. We might not have one.
2 sheets to any wind.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell was I trying to think of? Do you know the guy's name that collapsed?
I want to say Erickson.
Thank you. Christian Erickson. I haven't heard any updates on him, but obviously if you are following the Euros, you already know the situation, or if you follow sports in general. Christian Erickson collapsed on field 2 days ago. It's scary stuff, obviously. They did a fantastic job. Shout out to all the paramedics and shit that were on site, because apparently you have, I think there's 7 minutes to get someone a defibrillator after they've went into cardiac arrest, in order to take their percentage chance of living from like 10 to 70 or something like that.
No.
And they were like right on it, and they got him. Boom. They did a really good job making it private too. Like the team kind of built that wall and stuff. And it was fantastic job. Like I saw people judging like, oh, why didn't they get the paramedics in there quicker? And like, no, they did what was right. And they did the best job for the situation. And like, you don't need the
are as close. Either.
Like you don't need the ambulance to come in there and take somebody away to do that. Like you can do that on site with a defibrillator, and it's better that way because you get it done quick.
Not to move them and to get it done right then and there. And you know, it's scary for all. Like it's not something that you think of seeing in the game.
Basically, what I'm saying here is if you're not educated on something, maybe don't talk about it, because they did the right thing. Like medically, and it was a fantastic job by everyone a part of the situation, and the teams ended up playing that night too. I didn't watch the game
because afterwards they had asked. I'm pretty sure
they asked to play.
Teams though, like they stopped it on the, I don't know if it was maybe the team's request or but they communicate everything with both sides, and then so I think they both mutually agreed to
well they were gonna push it, but then the teams came to UEFA or Euro or whatever the hell it was and said like, no, we want to play tonight. Like we want to finish this game. I'm like, wow, that's pretty crazy. I mean, good for them. That's gotta be tough. So thoughts and prayers out to him, obviously. No, it's a cliche, but hopefully he's doing all right. I haven't really heard much about it.
I think afterwards that he was in stable condition.
Yeah, well, he was awake on the field, which is really good. So good for him. Hopefully he'll be all right. Yeah, that's always scary when it's a professional athlete that goes down like that. Like,
yeah, you've seen it a couple times throughout sports. I think NHL. I remember Rich Peverly on the bench just kind of falling backwards, and that was
awful.
A scary time. There's a couple others.
Yuri Fisher, I think, was another one. You see it like that sometimes, and just really puts into perspective. Like, doesn't matter how healthy you are or how great shape you're in. Like, this shit can happen to anyone, and it did. Yeah. It's crazy.
Good job by all.
Yeah. Speaking of hockey, I have no interest in talking about it anymore.
I totally do. We got to make our picks before.
Well, we do. We've already missed one game with Tampa and New York, and New York fucking won again. 2-1. They're gonna win the cup. Oh, they're gonna win the fucking cup, Brandon.
New York can win 2-1 is not going to be sustainable throughout the whole series.
I've said that for 2 rounds now, and they continue to do it. I don't know what to tell you. No. This shouldn't be sustainable. They shouldn't be able to win this way. It doesn't make any sense. Their team sucks. The roster sucks. There's nobody good there, and they keep on winning. It's the same goddamn thing in Montreal. There's nobody good on either of those teams that I'm like, wow, that guy's really carrying the team like you've seen in the past. And they're still winning. I don't get it. I hate it. I'm so frustrated with this year's Stanley Cup playoffs.
I think that one thing that New York did kind of well was for a lot of that game was not take penalties, right? They took 3 in the entire game, and that's something that we've always said.
You didn't put them on the power play.
Tampa 5-on-5. Absolutely, I believe New York can compete for sure. Depth versus depth, 5-on-5. I think that you have a real shot of winning.
Their systems put them in a good spot to do that.
But I think that if they start to take penalties, which they might, because Tampa Bay has another gear for sure, right? Braden Point has just taken over as the one on that team. You can say Nikita Kucherov and you can say Victor Hedman, and somehow Braden Point just always puts himself there.
Yeah,
always puts himself in the conversation. So.
This might be a hot-ish take. Tampa Bay really isn't that much more special than any other elite team in hockey. The only thing that makes them super special is the man that's sitting between the pipes in the back. That guy's ridiculous. He's the best player. He's the best goalie I've seen in a long time. He carries games. But like the build of Tampa is no different than any other great team in the NHL.
Is that not what puts you to that elite level though? Like for me,
it's the goalie.
I'm gonna say that there's maybe only 2 teams that can be put in that category as of right now, because like
teams as a whole, or just like the roster, not including the goalie.
Teams as a whole, including the goalie.
Okay, I think Tampa Bay is on a league of its own when you include
Tampa Bay, and I even think Vegas now that Marc-Andre Fleury has found it, they also can be put within that level because they do have the names and talent to just, and they've shown that, right? The manhandling of Colorado after losing those 2 games.
Yeah.
Like was it even if it was one? Like, well, yeah, they went to
even
6,
that
right?
second loss they had, the first loss, second loss they had. They looked great.
Absolutely,
it's just for me. You look at Tampa Bay and everyone's just like, oh, they're full of stars and there's depth as all-star
but
players.
It's Vasilevsky.
It's realistically like you have a top 5 guy in Nikita Kucherov.
But dude, that's been what this.
And then what?
That's been what this series has been. That's been what this playoffs has been.
For sure.
Carey Price has just ponied up and said, I'm the best goalie around, right?
I think
you watch Marc-Andre Fleury again do the same thing. You watch Colorado struggle to do it. You watch the Toronto Maple Leafs struggle to do it. Right? You watch Winnipeg Jets, who had the reigning Vezina winner, and he could not figure it out.
No.
They could not figure it out.
No, they sucked.
They got completely pummeled. Like for a team that usually never scores.
That team to me is going to live and die by the success of Andrei Vasilevsky. And I don't even think he was really that bad last game, but he let in 2, and apparently that was enough.
But even still, man, do you think Tampa Bay will only score 1 for the remainder?
I highly doubt it.
That's giving them 4 goals all series. That's what that's saying, because then New York will win 2-1 every single time.
I highly doubt that continues. Who knows?
It's going to be a fun series, though.
It should be.
I think it's Tampa within 6.
I also had Tampa in 6 when you sent me that. I just kind of I think Tampa wins the series, but the Islanders just have this ability to keep it close. It's just so
they frustrate you for sure. They get you out of your game plan. They get you out of your focus, right? But that's the thing, is that if you can get them out of focus and start taking penalties and capitalize on those power plays, for sure.
Yeah,
maybe. Get some flow to it. So
the other side of things, Vegas and Montreal.
I said 4-0, man. Vegas is gonna. I'm sorry, Montreal. I
don't even know. I would love to say 4-0 Vegas, but
this is going back to the elite teams, and Montreal is a really good team.
No,
but they've been
worse than every team they've played so far.
They've been riding a wave for sure, but they have not faced this yet. They have not run into a team this good.
I would like to clarify one thing here.
You're talking about Alex Pietrangelo. You're talking about Shea Theodore.
Here's the thing you're missing. Here's the key bit of information that you're missing. No. It has nothing to do with the Montreal Canadiens at all.
Okay.
The key thing you're missing in both of these series is that the hockey gods hate Toronto Maple Leaf fans. And we have learned that over the course of the years. So what's happening here is we're going to see the Islanders and their fans bitching about John Tavares, and the Montreal Canadiens end up in the fucking Stanley Cup final because for some reason we can't catch a goddamn break. And we're going to light up the entire country of Canada, red, white, and blue, because Canada's team, baby. Woo! I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't see Montreal winning the series, and I don't see the Islanders winning the series. But just the way everything's going in life right now as a Leaf fan, it's going to be New York and Montreal sitting in the finals come next week. I don't know what to tell you.
The show has been cute. The show has been fun.
It's not done.
The
fat lady is still sitting.
No.
She's not even up yet. Look, she's sitting in her chair.
I want you to watch tonight's game.
She's not even there yet.
The complete domination.
No.
Did you watch? You told me you watched how Vegas dominated Colorado.
Sure. Vegas is going to dominate the shit out of them and lose 2-0.
Colorado's top 3 players are better than the first player in Montreal.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you. They're significantly better, but that's not the point. The point here is that we can't catch a goddamn break. They're going to win. I don't know how. I don't know what they're going to do it. They're probably going to sweep.
They're going to win. They're going to win. Then that's it. You will be in this eternal just eternal.
I'm already in this eternal pain. Because we can't win a round. And here we are taking the Islanders' best player, and here they are, one series away from the cup again, despite the fact that their team sucks.
Laughing that they kept
and their GM built a trash heap.
Their GM built a
trash heap.
A unit. An Islanders
their coach built a unit. Their GM has done nothing. But this is the conversation. I'll transition from here. The conversation has now gone
unbelievable.
Man, somehow Somehow we've come back to maybe the Leafs should have kept Lou Lamoriello. For what? For what reason should we have kept Lou fucking Lamoriello? What has he done in New York that you're like, yeah, that was good? Like brought in Kyle Palmieri. We brought in Nick Foligno, who I would argue is better. And it didn't work. Like, what? He's going to do a better job of signing Matthews and Marner? He signed Patrick Marleau for 3 years at $700 million. Like, don't tell me he's good at negotiating contracts when he gave Nikita Zaitsev 7 years for, was it $8 million? Like, no.
Something.
Oh, my God. The only thing he did well was he drafted the gimme in Austin Matthews, and he traded for Frederik Andersen, who was a backup at the time. I would argue that Kyle Dubas did a better job bringing in Jack for less money and has just the exact same amount of output. Like, am I wrong? Like, you've got Freddie making 4 and doing exactly what Jack did at 1 point something on an easier trade.
I think that what Lou Lamoriello does is look at his coach and look at their system and bring in players that fit that, right? Barry Trotz does not need...
Like, did he, though? Like, who did he bring in?
Right,
realistically, like, who did he bring in?
He brought in Pajot, did he not?
Okay.
He brought in but
has Pajot been that good? I think anybody could play the role that Gigi Pajot is doing right now.
Matt Barzal was there, and they showed pure confidence in Matt Barzal, and they watched JT walk right out that door for the same money that they were then going to pay.
Matt Barzal is zero part of the reason why that team is winning.
Are you kidding me?
That guy is an offensive player that has never scored a point per game in his life.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't need to because
exactly. This is what I'm saying. His job is to play offense, and he doesn't do that. The only reason they win is because they have Barry Trotz with this ridiculous system he's created, and they put 75 old guys that like to punch people in the face in it.
He doesn't need to score a point per game if they're going to make it to the cup.
Lou Lamoriello has the easiest job on the planet right now. The greatest thing he ever did was sign Barry Trotz. Once he signed Barry Trotz, all he had to do was just trade for guys. Didn't matter who it was.
Has to consistently bring in players within the budget.
Whom?
To fix Palmieri, Zajac.
That's it. Like Travis Zajac sucks.
And it's helped him.
He sucks. And he got put into Barry Trotz's system, and now he looks great. It has nothing to do with what Lou Lamoriello is doing. They threw in Zajac because they wanted him to pay for him. Like,
Lou Lamoriello, you get as much depth as you need. You get the depth you need, and that's fine with me.
I can't give Lou Lamoriello credit for just bringing in random dudes that aren't actually good and having them succeed under Barry Trotz. If you took Barry Trotz away from Lou Lamoriello, he would be doing the exact same thing that Kyle Dubas is doing. And he did the exact same thing that Kyle Dubas did when he was here. He had no playoff round wins here. Like, he didn't help the team win.
Don't be mad because your team's not in the playoffs anymore. And Lou Lamoriello,
lots of teams aren't.
It is about the system, and they have bought into that. Matt Barzal, you're right, absolutely, was a complete talent. But if he continues, if he pushes up, and if he tries to go on runs by himself, because they know that team is not pushing the same way that he is, then I get it. I get that he's just buying into the system, and he doesn't score as much because of the system. But like, he's an offensive guy that's not producing offense. And dude,
and like that's their star, and they're so happy they signed him.
They have also bought into this 2 goalie system. I think almost longer than anybody else. Like Robin Leonard and Thomas Price, did they not split the Vezina?
No, they split. No, they didn't win the Vezina, but they had that other award where they won the same
whatever. They split it. Whatever it is, they fucking
either way,
which is stupid. Don't split an award.
But that's the coach's job. That's not Lou Lamoriello. That's the coach.
That's bringing in Robin Leonard. That's bringing in.
But he doesn't have Robin Leonard anymore. They literally just signed what's his nuts out of Russia, and he was a stud.
Yeah, exactly. Bringing in Simeon Varlamov.
Yeah, that was not that hard.
Yes, it is.
He was just like an average goalie that just became incredible because the defense in front of him is so good.
They brought in
such a frustrating team. I don't understand how Lou Lamoriello's getting praised for this.
Adam Pelech
is great because he's in the system. Like, it's just
Ryan Pollock.
I could get guys on that team that are going to succeed under that system. It's not that hard. He's almost handcuffing himself. They almost lost Matt Barzal because they're paying Leo Komarov $2.5-3 million, whatever it is.
Who drafted Oliver Wahlstrom?
Who cares?
I would.
Who did he draft when he was here?
I have no idea.
Nobody.
Austin Matthews.
Nobody. Austin Matthews is the
team.
only guy from the 4 years that Lou Lamoriello was here that we
re-signed
kept.
Anthony Bolivier,
Good.
who is a plus 15.
You know who he threw away
not a lot of points,
and was a phenomenal D-man this year? Devon fucking Taves, because he butchered the cap and he couldn't afford him. But it doesn't matter because Barry Trotz has this system that everybody's a stud D-man.
So who ended in round 2 and who is in round 3 now?
Who cares? Barry Trotz is in round 3. Barry Trotz. No, I care that people are giving Lou Lamoriello credit for this. It has nothing to do with Lou Lamoriello.
Everything to do with
nothing. Zero. Big fat zero to do with Lou Lamoriello.
It's a whole system.
It's not. It's not.
He
is maybe 2% of the job.
Nick Leddy.
Great. That's not a good name.
Led the team in assists.
Exactly. This is what we're talking about. Nick Leddy is not good anywhere else. Nick Leddy doesn't succeed somewhere, right? If Nick Leddy gets traded tomorrow, he's retiring in 2 years because he's not good. What's his name? The ancient guy on the back, Andy Green, is somehow still existing.
Don't even.
Andy Green sucks.
Bringing in New Jersey players because it is working.
Andy Green sucks.
You know what?
And he's still there. He's 90 years old.
Are you willing to support the Islanders team?
No.
I think you might.
No, I can't stand it. I hope
they're gonna win the cup. I've already accepted it, but I can't. I just can't. This playoff has broken me. I don't know if you've noticed. I've been broken by this entire playoff run.
You need to have the Jays back home, home.
Yeah, I need Blue Jays baseball. All the storylines around everything is just broken me. It's just like all of a sudden we're just flipping all these scripts into something that doesn't make any sense. Like, why is Lou? Why is Lou? Why is Lou?
Why is Lou?
God,
Lou, why? Lou.
Lourdes Gurriel's a terrible outfielder.
Oh man, he
great arm.
Not play well.
Terrible outfielder though. He'll figure it out. He's way too athletic not to. But
look at him smile. Don't smile. What are you gonna do? Put him at third base? He made second base look like Pluto. Look like he was that lost.
Is there like a position where you just throw? Because he needs that.
Can you just make him have like maybe 4 outfielders? You know,
he's the rover.
The infield anymore? Yeah, we're just gonna have 4 outfielders.
I'm done.
I know.
That's enough for today.
I can tell. I can actually see the smoke kind of billowing.
Oh my god! Out of my ears. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate if you made it through all that. As always, don't forget to follow us at the BNB Pod _ on Instagram and Twitter, and at the BNB Podcast on TikTok. We really appreciate you guys staying and listening to us. It's fun. We enjoy it. If you like our merch, if you like our content, check more of it out at theasports.com.
Wherever it is.
Everything's linked in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you for listening. We'll see you probably next Monday. Cheers.